For 3 months, the FBI stayed silent while a family grieved and a community searched for answers. But the silence ended this week in a Miami federal court. As a hooded 16-year-old boy bowed his head to avoid the cameras, newly unsealed documents revealed the one word that changes the entire nature of this tragedy: murder. Today, we're breaking down the federal charges, the blackout defense, and the chilling forensic evidence from Cabin 8XXX. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. The silence that had surrounded the death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner for 3 long months was shattered on February 3, 2026. For 90 days, the community of Titusville and the classmates at Temple Christian School had lived in a state of suspended animation, waiting for the FBI to move. That movement finally took a physical form at the James Lawrence King Federal Justice Center in Miami. The image of the 16-year-old stepbrother, identified in court records as TH, walking into a federal courthouse with his head bowed and a hoodie pulled tight over his face, served as a chilling confirmation. The mysterious death aboard the Carnival Horizon was now a federal murder case. The revelation of the word murder did not come from a standard police blotter or a public press release, because this case is being handled by the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida. It is shielded by the layers of secrecy inherent in federal juvenile proceedings. Instead, the confirmation came through a parallel legal explosion, an emergency custody filing by Thomas Hudson, the boy's biological father. In these documents, the truth was laid bare. The U.S. attorney had officially charged TH with the homicide and murder of his stepsister. This use of the word murder in a formal legal motion changed the entire complexion of the story. It was no longer an investigation into an unfortunate incident. It was a prosecution for a violent, intentional taking of life. To understand why this boy was allowed to walk out of that courthouse and go home to his parents after being charged with murder, a fact that has outraged many observers, one must understand the unique slow walk of the federal juvenile system. As legal expert Dave Ehrenberg pointed out, the federal government does not have the direct file power that state prosecutors in Florida enjoy. In a Florida state court, a 16-year-old accused of a brutal strangulation could be charged as an adult within hours. In the federal system, the Federal Juvenile Delinquency Act mandates a specific starting point. It is a protective shell that keeps the suspect's name off public dockets and his face off official records until a federal judge decides if he should be transferred to adult status. This secrecy period is a strategic battleground. The defense is currently using this time to argue for the boy's release to guardians, citing the federal presumption of release. Unlike state jails, there are very few federal juvenile detention centers, creating a logistical hurdle that often results in suspects being sent home on electronic monitoring. But while the boy sits at home in Titusville, the FBI is not idle. They are building a case meant to withstand the transfer hearing, the high-stakes legal proceeding where a judge will determine if TH remains in a system that must release him at age 21, or if he is transferred to adult court where a life sentence is a mathematical possibility. The M word is now on the record, and the federal machinery, though slow, is grinding toward a permanent reckoning for what happened on the Carnival Horizon. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. As the legal battle intensifies, the defense has revealed its primary weapon, the medication mismanagement theory. In the high-pressure environment of the custody hearings, Anna Kepner, the boy's mother, made a series of admissions that have become the cornerstone of the defense's strategy. She testified that TH, who was diagnosed with ADHD and severe insomnia, missed 2 critical doses of his nighttime sedative, clonidine, while on the cruise. Most importantly, he missed the dose on the very night Anna was killed. The defense is preparing to argue that this pharmacological imbalance led to a state of diminished capacity, a medical blackout where the boy had no mens rea or criminal intent. This blackout defense relies on the idea that without his medication, TH was a ticking time bomb of neurological instability. They point to his own statement to his grandmother, "I don't remember what happened." However, the forensic reality inside Cabin 8XXX tells a much more deliberate and haunting story. The medical examiner ruled that Anna died of an armbar chokehold, a specific, technical maneuver that requires a high degree of physical coordination, sustained pressure, and a clear knowledge of how to cut off an individual's airway. As prosecutors will surely argue, an ADHD imbalance or a migraine does not naturally grant a teenager the technical skill to apply a lethal strangulation hold. These are coordinated, purposeful actions that suggest a clarity of mind. Furthermore, the scene discovered by the housekeeper at 11 a.m. on November 7th contradicts the confused blackout theory. Anna was not simply lying where she fell. Her body was reportedly wrapped in a blanket, stuffed under a bed, and camouflaged with life jackets. In the eyes of a prosecutor, these are the actions of someone exhibiting consciousness of guilt. The effort taken to hide the body proves that the person in that room understood that a crime had been committed and that they needed to evade discovery. The 11:17 a.m. timeline remains the most devastating piece of evidence. If the medical examiner's precision is correct, Anna died just minutes after the ship's morning activities were in full swing. This wasn't a night terror in the dark of early morning. It was a mid-morning homicide. While the defense tries to blame the mother for failing to provide medication, the prosecution is looking at a different history, one of predatory obsession, with reports from Anna's ex-boyfriend's father suggesting that the stepbrother was obsessed with her, hovered over her while she slept, and even carried a large knife. The two peas in a pod story has completely dissolved. The FBI is now treating the medication issue not as a cause, but as a potential excuse. They are looking at this not as a medical accident, but as the culmination of a long-standing pattern of intimidation that ended in a small, windowless cabin on Deck 8. The question now is whether the court will see a sick child who missed a pill or a cold-blooded killer who used the cover of a family vacation to commit the unthinkable. And as always, you've been watching True Crime Story Vault, where every story is told with facts, empathy, and respect for those who can no longer speak for themselves. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button, like, and comment your thoughts below. Until next time, remember, the truth is never buried.